people, welcome back to the Ponder on That show with myself, Saffron King. I am the host, and today we're with a very special guest, Tamira Lachey, who is a woman of God who wears many hats. Thank you for coming, Tamira.
No, honestly, it's a pleasure. Like I've been literally buzzing about it the whole week. I'm really excited about this, so ready to get into it.
Amazing, amazing. So, Tamira, you are a highly creative person.
Yeah.
You do modeling, you're a content creator, you're a makeup artist. I have to say, guys, she did my makeup today and she's amazing. So I felt it was so
Thank you.
therapeutic.
Oh, thank you.
And also you're a worship leader at your church. And for those who don't know what worship leader is, like they lead the singing and music and all things worship in the church. So Tamira, how did you know you were called to do all these amazing things?
I think starting from when I was young, I think I've always been a creative individual. I've always been good at art. So starting with the makeup, I've always been good at art. So when I used to drawing art in school, I was very like good at kind of drawing like precise things, like making it very precise in terms of when I would draw it. And I've just always liked to express myself through different things, whether it be colours and stuff like that. So when I started to wear makeup, which was at 13, I know it was very, very young, but I just remember the feeling of enjoying it, there's a therapeutic side to makeup, and I think I enjoy that. And just kind of just demonstrating my skill through that. I just love the whole process of it. So I think when I was probably about 18, I discovered that I actually wanted to be a makeup artist and I wanted to do makeup. So that's how I kind of got into it from there. And modelling and stuff, I've always wanted to model, which is really strange because I remember I was reflecting and I was thinking, oh, okay, where did this modelling thing come from? And it has been from young because I've always liked to take pictures. I love being in front of the camera. Like, it's not in a vain way, but I love being in front of the camera. It's just, I just feel like, I don't know, it's a form of expression for me again. So modelling, I've always wanted to do it from when I was young. I love taking pictures. I did modelling a little bit when I was about 17, and I'm just trying to pursue that now as a full career. Being a worship leader, that started, I guess, when I was like quite young actually, because I got saved quite young. I gave my life to Christ quite young. I got the call quite young, and I answered quite young. So that started there really, and ever since then I've been going, haven't turned back. So
That's amazing. And what most inspires you when you're creating? So when you're doing the worship leading, when you are modeling, and when you're doing someone's makeup, what are you most inspired by?
So with doing someone's makeup, I'm inspired by I just look at I like to assess their face. So like I analyze their features and stuff like that, and I find it sounds weird to say, but I find joy in their features. So for example, when I was doing yours, I was looking at your eyes. I see it as like a blank canvas. So it's like, okay, oh my gosh, she has beautiful eyes. So how can I do makeup that will look so nice according to her shape and structures and bone structures and stuff like that? And then I look for a way in which I can enhance what's already there instead of covering it up. Hence, I did with you today. With the creative content and stuff like that, I think I'm very imaginative. Is it imaginative?
Imaginative.
So I imagine things. I imagine different scenarios in my head, and I'm very much into like Disney and stuff like that. So it's all very like in my head. It's like, okay, it just comes very creative, and I'm just like, okay, how do I now kind of execute that? So I just look for ways to do that, and then I create the content and edit it accordingly. So that's how it comes out the way it does, because I'm just like, okay, this is what I want to capture, and then this is what I want to show. With worship leading, obviously I'm inspired through just my relationship with God and my love for him, and that is demonstrated when I lead worship, and it's evident that I love him, hence why I'm always like crying, because not because I'm emotional, but because I'm always reflecting on the things that he's done for me, and I think that's what just allows me to just express my love that I have for God.
That's amazing to me. That is amazing. And even from when I see you walking in your gifts and using your gifts, like you really do, like even with, for example, with my makeup, like you have enhanced my face, like, and it's not about like changing how I look, because I think as well nowadays some people like wear makeup because maybe they want to change something about how they look, definitely. Or they feel like, oh, I want to look like this person because this person's beautiful, but actually everyone's beautiful, but everyone, it's like makeup enhances your beauty. So I think that's beautiful. And even like you said with worship leading, like And I've seen videos of where you've been crying and like
Always
you've been
crying.
pouring out to God, and it's amazing because it's like it's yeah. When I say this, it's like it's not performative, is it? It's not a performance. It's you actually worshiping the Creator, and it's like it's not people worshiping you, but it's you're helping people or leading people into worshiping the King of Kings.
It's definitely a journey. It's a journey. It's a journey with worship leading. It's a journey that starts at home. So you can't go up there and just do anything. You have to be doing that in your private time, in your private space, in your secret place, and then that's what it kind of flows over into the Sunday morning service. So it's a journey that you've been taken on, and then you're taking people on. And one thing that always sticks with me, especially with worship leading and anything to do with church or God, you can't take people where you haven't been. And I always have that in mind when I lead worship, and that's what comes out. I guess it's because I do it at home and I'm sincere in my love for him, so it shows when I lead worship. So
that's beautiful. And I love what you said about like worship. It starts at home. And I remember seeing a quote or a pastor say like worship is a lifestyle. Like people just assume like it's just this one event or like just singing, but actually worship is like how we treat each other, how we go on a day-to-day basis, like what our relationship is like with God. Like that's beautiful, Tamira.
It's a sacrifice. It's a lifestyle because it's a sacrifice. Worship is demonstrating your love for God by living for him and doing the things that he's called you to do and stuff like that. So it is a sacrifice in that context.
Amazing. Well, thank you for sharing that, Tamira. So as you spoke about like your relationship with God, what does your relationship with God mean to you, and how did you like first encounter him?
Okay, so I first encountered him when my twin sister and we got saved at 13 or 12. So we gave our life to Christ. The pastor did a call, who would like to give your life to Christ. And me and my twin sister were just standing there crying. We didn't know why we was crying, but we just felt this pull to go to the altar. So we did. And I remember him saying to us, God understands why you're crying. Don't worry, God understands why you're crying. So at that moment, we gave our life to Christ. And from since then, 12, obviously I'm 27 now, we've just been going strong and just haven't looked back. And I guess I've seen the fruit of it in terms of like the people who have come to Christ through my life, or the people who have influenced, the people who lives have impacted, and so I think it's been beautiful to see that. And my relationship with God, that means everything to me. I feel like for me, if I didn't encounter, I'm so glad that I used to regret getting saved and giving my life to Christ so early, because I felt like I'd missed out on a lot of life experiences, like things that you should go through. But I look back and I don't have no regrets, because I feel like my life had to go the way it had to go in order to impact other people. And I feel like if I didn't get saved, not that it's all down to me, but God uses our life to bless others, and I've seen that. So I look back now and I don't have no regrets. And my relationship with him just means everything. It's my source of life. It's everything to me, honestly.
That's amazing, Tamira. And you know, I feel like some people, when they hear like people talking about God, like people see it as like it's like a religion, or it's like this kind of ritualistic kind of, you know what I mean? But actually, God is very real, very tangible, very even he's with us now, like during this interview and throughout life, like life experiences. He's with you, and he'll never leave nor forsake you.
Yeah, it's just having that in mind. I think it's just everything that I've been through from young until now, and just recently, whatever. It's like he's been the only one that's kind of like kept me anchored, and obviously he allows people to be around you for community and just to have that community and that support network. But it's recognizing that he is the source of everything, and I think when you realize that, it's like that's what keeps you afloat. So that's what my relationship with him means to me. He keeps me afloat.
Wow,
keeps my head above water.
Yeah, when life comes in,
when life comes in and you're drowning,
I know, and the rocks are coming in.
I'm so glad that I have God. You know what I mean? I have Jesus. So
yes, absolutely.
That's what it means to me. Yeah,
that's amazing. That is amazing. So, Tamira, as a woman of God, it can be challenging, especially in this like day and age. It can be challenging to live up to God's standards for us. How do you personally remain so sincere and connected with God?
So I feel like approaching my relationship with God with humility all the time. I think, and by that I mean saying that you need him. I think if we go through life, and sometimes when you've been in it for so long, or been a Christian for so long, you've been saved for so long, you can develop a pride within you that's like, I know this, I know that, I have this understanding, I have this knowledge of the Bible, and I've been saved for this many years. Yes, I've been saved for a long time, but we always have to recognize that we need him. And I think that's what keeps me sincere, is knowing that, okay, God, I need you every hour, I need you every minute, I need you every second, every day. And that's how I approach it. I approach it with that level of humility, to say that regardless of how long I've been doing this, or regardless of how long I've been in this, or regardless of how much I know biblically, I still need you. And I always, these times I'll be crying, not crying because I'm upset, but I'm crying because it's like sometimes I cry because I'm just like, I can't believe that I'm so connected to a God that's so real. And not many people have that, or not many people can understand that because they haven't experienced it. But when you experience it, and you have that experience, it just makes everything just, I don't know how to explain it. It's just surreal. It's surreal. Absolutely. So I think for me, I just always just be like, God, I need you. Whatever it is, whatever I'm doing, I include him in every aspect of my life, and I say, I need you, I need you. That's how I approach my relationship with him, and that's what I believe keeps it sincere.
That's beautiful.
What was the other part of the question? Sorry.
Oh, the other part was it was like, how, I mean, if you've answered it, how do you remain connected with him?
Yeah, and with the standards of being a woman of God, and with the standards of being a child of God, I think the more that you, obviously, as I said, approach the relationship with humility and saying that I need you, you're asking him, I need you to walk, I need you to talk, I need you to breathe, I need you to do the things that I'm doing. It's when you include him in that, and you allow him to kind of have that space in your life, you automatically change, and then you'll automatically live into that standard, because you're approaching him with humility, saying that, okay, I need you to help me be like you then. Okay, I can't do this on my own, and then who will? So I think those standards come after, when you are on that journey of him, allowing him to kind of just purge you or redefine you, or whatever it is that he needs to do. You automatically display those standards that he's called you to live by. So yeah,
I really I agree with that, Tamira. Like, even recently in my season of life, it's like every day I'm finding myself like, oh my gosh, Lord, I feel like I'm messing up daily. Like, I can't really boast it, even if like on the outside people are like, I've had people say to me, oh, like, Saffron, like, you're so nice or angelic. They call me angelic, and I'm like, listen, if only you know.
You are, but I hear it.
Thank you. You know what I mean? Because like God he sees our hearts. So even when we do certain things, like I'm like, Lord, like, clean like the depths of my heart that people don't see. And what you touched on, humility, is so important, because it's like, it's knowing that actually, regardless of like how other people see us, or like how we come across in the outside world, it's like having that one-on-one come back to God, and him showing us and teaching us. And I agree, like, the standards don't come from our own righteousness. It comes from like sometimes messing up as well. You know what I mean?
It does come from that. It's a learning. It is as the Bible says, his grace is sufficient. So it's not there to kind of just excuse us in a way. It's there to empower us to live like him. And this is how we can get it twisted sometimes, because we think that it's in our own strength, or it's in our own ability. But the reason why there's grace is for us to be empowered, to have that grace, to be like, okay, that's my thing that I can use to now live like him, instead of actually just seeing it as like, oh, it's my excuse to sin. It's not. It empowers us to be like him. And I think when you have that perspective and that understanding, you just automatically understand, as when Paul was saying, but his grace is sufficient. It is enough for us, because it's enough for us to be like him.
Yes, absolutely. I love that. It's not an excuse to say, oh, might as well. Might as well.
And we all have done that.
We all have done.
We all have done that, and abused grace, and be like, you know what, I'm sorry, but
it's true. Like,
I know he's gonna forgive me, so I might as well just.
Literally,
we've all been there.
We've all been. I remember Lord forgive me, but I've been in situations where I've been like, and I don't even like to say this, but it's being honest. It's like, I know that God will forgive me, so let me just do it anyway. Do you know what I mean? But actually, what you said is so beautiful. His grace empowers us to be more like Christ, to be more like him, to walk like him, to love like him, to follow God's word like him. Exactly. So that's beautiful. Wow, humility, guys.
Humility.
So Tamira, when it comes to I'd say like relationships, and I mean you've already touched on it a bit earlier, but I'll just say it anyway. When it comes to relationships and the beauty standards of what we see, how would you advise women to stay happy and true in their God-given identity? So it's like earlier when you mentioned about, you know, when you did my face, my makeup, you wanted to enhance my beauty, not take away, obviously, or not make me look like someone completely different. Do you know what I mean? So what would you say to women out there who are like struggling with their physical appearance?
I would say, I don't know, like I feel for me, like one thing that helped me, so obviously I used to depend on makeup a lot when I was younger, and I wouldn't go a day without it. I would literally feel like I needed it, and I started to kind of love who I looked like with makeup, and then I was encouraged to do like a month without no makeup, and that was truly impactful because I was able to kind of appreciate myself. And I think I would say just to kind of just strip it back. And for me, what was helpful was little by little, find little features about yourself, because you're saying physically. So find little features about yourself, like whether it's your nose, your eyes, whatever it is, and start to appreciate it and find the beauty in it. And that's what I started to do. I started to like, oh, my eyes are actually, you know, they're a nice shape, or my nose is cute, or little things like that. As time went on, I started to kind of learn to appreciate my whole face. So those are like little tips that you can do. Just start just appreciating the little things. And I feel like being comfortable, being your authentic self. I think discover who you are, obviously in Christ. That's the only way you can do that. But discover who you are, like discover your own authenticity. And the more comfortable you are being your authentic self, is the more that will demonstrate, but the more comfortable you'll feel just in yourself, and more confident you'll feel in yourself. And obviously comparison, there can be a lot of comparison.
It's the thief of all joy, comparison.
There can be a lot of comparison. I've done that a lot, especially with being very like my social media, having a heavy social media presence. So like I've done that a lot, so I had to kind of move away from that. And am I still learning? 110%. But I think, as you were saying, it's the thief of joy, and I think you just have to move away from comparison. You can't look at no one and be like, oh, I wish I had this, I wish I had that. Do I do that still now? 110%.
Me too.
But it's a journey, man. You have to go on a journey of discovering yourself and being 110% confident in who you are and who God's created you to be, because everyone is created with such beautiful different identities. And it's like, I think once we actually fully understand that, even down to our personalities, like God was intentional about that. So it's like things like that, like you have to be comfortable with those stuff, and the more comfortable you are in your authenticity, is the more comfortable you are in yourself. You'll find that it will just
I love that.
Go over into the physical.
And you know what's interesting? It's interesting you say all of that is beautiful, and it's like some of the things that we think of ourselves, would we say that to our best friend, or would we say that to our sibling? Like, do you know what I mean? Sometimes you have to be your own. Like recently I was talking to someone and they were saying to me, I just want to be a better friend to myself. And it's true, like, are we good friends to ourselves? Like, are we being that best friend that we needed? 100%. Like, you know what I mean? Like, some of the things I can say to myself, whether it be vocally or just like in my mind, it's like if I'd say that to a friend, the friend probably would say to me, you know what, cut this friendship off, because this is a toxic relationship. No. But exactly. Sometimes we can have a toxic relationship with ourselves.
Yes, 110%.
Yeah,
110%. You have to be kind to yourself, and sometimes certain things that we think about ourselves has come through different things. Sometimes it can come through traumas or whatever it is, or just little things that we believe about ourselves subconsciously. We have to. One of the things that I learned, and one of the things that I've taught as well, you have to be willing to kind of come out of agreement with those things. And I think sometimes the reason why we still are in certain places in terms of how we feel about ourselves or our perception of ourselves is because we're still in agreement with lies. And I think it's important to know and to be able to kind of recite what God actually says about you. That's all that matters, because if you do have certain beliefs about yourself, whether it's you're ugly or whether it's you're not gifted or you're not talented or you're not all these things, those are actually lies, because it's not true. Because God has given us these gifts. God has given us beauty. God has given us everyone beauty, no matter what it is. Like, He's given us all these things. So we have to be willing to kind of come out of agreement with lies and just really connect with the truth. And that is what God says about us. So.
Wow. Isn't it so interesting that sometimes, like I've been in a place where I valued like a human being's opinion of me more than the creator who created me. It's like, if you created something, how can I tell you, oh, Tamira, no, you created that wrong. Like you're the one with the talent. I have no right to tell you how you've done your masterpiece. Do you know what I mean?
Exactly.
So sometimes I've definitely valued people's opinions above God's, but actually, like you said, God, he created all of us, and he's the only one his opinion matters. Only his opinion matters.
Only his opinion matters about us. Yeah.
And the right people around you, anyway, they will just affirm what God has already said.
Exactly.
So like for example, and I'm not just saying this because we're just saying it, but you are beautiful, Tamira. So like I will affirm already what God has told you. Do you know what I mean? Like that's not nothing new to you. So it's not nothing new. She's getting compliments left, right, and centre.
Thank you.
Yeah. So Tamira, it's actually interestingly enough, because we spoke about like relationships and being a better friend to even ourselves. Now talking about friendships in terms of with others. So recently on your Instagram, like you spoke about like the importance of being a good friend to someone, like especially as Christians, for example, sometimes, and what you said was so powerful. It was something on the lines of, obviously correct me if I'm wrong, on the lines of sometimes we're so good at doing like the Christian work in church, like showing up at church or doing certain duties, but in our friendships and even our relationships, there's some kind of lack. Like, how do you think we can be a better? And another thing I wanted to say as well, sometimes we speak a lot about like romantic relationships, but I feel like sometimes friendships, that area gets neglected.
It does. Yeah, so I feel like it's understanding. Okay, so Jesus says he says what did he say? Basically, we're supposed to love each other as he loves us, and I think it's understanding that level of love. What is the scripture? I think it's John 15 verse 12.
Is it about
it's when he talks about basically there's no greater love than a man lay down.
That came to mind as well.
Yeah, I think it is that.
I'll put it on there. Yeah.
I think it is that. Maybe not John 15. Wait, either way, you're gonna correct it.
We'll double check it, guys. Yeah. But it is in scripture.
Yeah, it is in scripture. And I think it's understanding that love. Okay, so how do we love others and each other the way that Christ loved us? And I think when Christ talks about laying down the life, I think it's understanding what he was describing there is the lengths of love. Wow. Love has lengths. Wow. It has lengths. And it's about how much are you willing to display this? How much are you willing to demonstrate this love? And I think we have this idea, it's easy to say, I love you, girl, or I love you, like, girl, I love you. It's easy to say those things. It's very easy. But the length that Christ went to show us that he loved us was laying down his life for us, no?
Yeah.
And
absolutely,
with us, we're not necessarily going to be like take our friend to a mountain and be like, girl, I love you, and then fall back off the mountain. Like, we're not going to do that.
I would die for you. Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. Like, people
we're not going to do that. We're not going to do that.
Yeah.
But it's talking about selflessness and true love is what Christ was showing us there, is that true love is sacrificial. And also there was a like a phrase that I saw and it really stuck with me. It's like, true love is not cheap.
Wow.
True love is not cheap. It's actually cost.
It
costs Christ, right?
Wow.
He laid down his life. It cost
us. And he paid the price.
He paid the price. It cost. And in that it's true love, and how we can be a better friend is it requires sacrifice. It requires us to be selfless. It requires us to put our needs aside in order to be a better friend. But we unfortunately have not kind of gathered or fully understood the love of Christ, so we're not able to demonstrate in our relationship. Am I speaking to myself? 110%.
Me too.
110%. I'm speaking to myself. So yeah, I would say having that understanding that love is not cheap. It's not, I'll give you just a little bit of myself and then I'll keep this 80% for myself. No, you give all of yourself within reason, if that makes sense.
Yes, absolutely.
Within wisdom. But yeah, true love is costly. It costs, and it's very sacrificial, and it requires you to be selfless.
And the thing, it's interesting you say that, because you can feel when you're doing it, and there's a kind of and it doesn't get spoken about a lot, but I can't lie, sometimes you feel the pain. You do feel the pain, and the pain isn't saying, obviously yes, we're not talking about abusive relationships or toxic relationships. That's obviously boundaries. But in terms of a friendship where two imperfect people, just like with marriage, two imperfect people coming together who are striving to love each other as best they can. It's about having like that patience, and sometimes it will pain you to do certain things, but it's about enduring through.
Exactly, it's sacrifice. Like, you think, like, as we was discussing earlier, it's like Christ died on that cross knowing that there's people that just wouldn't even love him back. Like, he loved us. He demonstrated that by dying on the cross, knowing that there's people that won't even love him back. Literally. Like, that is the lengths that we have to go to when we say that if we say that we love someone. God is our greatest example. He demonstrated it through Christ. We have to demonstrate our love for someone and not just say it and be like, oh, da da da. But what lengths are you willing to go through? Like, and it's just a question for all of us. It's like, okay, is the love that you're demonstrating cheap, or is the love that you're demonstrating costly? Is it costing you something?
Literally.
Do you know what I mean? And I think those are where like our characters are developed. So Christ is trying to teach us about that. Is because he's selfless, so he's trying to teach us and you know and refine, you know, our character in doing that, and it's hard.
It is hard.
I don't even want to be on here talking about this. Like, it's hard because I'm sorry, when you want to put yourself aside, you want to go the extra mile. So sometimes there's something in the back of your head. It's like, why should I do that? Because that person ain't gonna
literally. They might not even do it for me. So why am I gonna do it for them? Yeah.
But you just have to do it. I saw a quote not long ago, like years ago, and it says, Christ love without the thought of response.
Wow.
And I think having that in mind is like, we're supposed to love that same way, but it's not easy, but we just have to help him. I think asking God, help me to understand your love, help me to receive your love completely. You can't give a gift that you haven't received.
Wow.
So I think having that understanding or that perspective is like, okay, when you fully receive the gift of Christ and the love and the grace and everything and the mercy that he's given you, you'll be able to extend that to someone else.
I agree.
So, yeah, that's what I would say about that.
That's beautiful. Yeah. And you know, friendship is hard because obviously, you know, people we all come from different backgrounds. Everyone has a level of, like you said, we have trauma. We go through trauma, and unintentionally that it does come up in friendships. I know, me personally, I'll be honest, like I have definitely ruined friendships because of my
110%.
my trauma, my brokenness, and not, if I don't want to say that even trauma as an excuse, but even like things that I should have known better at doing, you know. So it's about forgiving yourself as well. So say for example, those who we're talking to now, those who have like ruined certain friendships, or like those friendships are, you know, basically there's no, you know, it's cut. Like just forgive yourself and then just try better next time. And like you said as well, it's like you can't give a gift that you don't have. You know what I mean? Like you can't. So, and it's about receiving that. It's receiving that. And what really highlights to me from what you just said is like loving without expectation, or loving without feeling like it's like entitlement. It's like an entitlement. It is, and it's hard. And guys, we're not saying that, you know, friendships is, you know, it should all just be just you just loving them and then being completely, you know, there's a balance, isn't there?
There's a balance. I think when you'll be in situations where it will be like God will call you to endure through that, and you have to be patient, and you have to be like, oh God, man, like why is it? But it's producing something greater in you, and it's just having that understanding, and it's all about character development. I think that with Christians or just people may perceive, I think with Christians we just idolize everything else, and we forget that Christ actually cares about our character as well. Like, don't just think that you're out here just thinking, oh yeah, because I'm a Christian you've got it all together and you're perfect, and I don't need this, I don't need this, and I don't need that. Christ cares about our characters, and even just going back to the point about we neglecting friendships and we're out there doing this, or what I did obviously say on my story was about like people just gravitate to the titles or gravitate to the validation that comes with the platform in church and idolize that. And God cares about our relationships. He thinks he doesn't care that you are not, you know, putting yourself forward for your friend or showing up for your friend or being a good friend. He cares about those stuff. And he obviously we serve a God who is about community and relationship. I don't want to go too deep, but we see that demonstrated with the Father, Son, Holy Spirit. They're all they're all connected and they all have a relationship with each other. Hence Jesus saying to the Pharisees, I only do what I see my Father do. You can't do something with that. With him saying that is like, it's like a son with their dad. It's like they just literally not copy, but they demonstrate their dad's, characteristics of what their dad does because they spend time with their dad. That's based upon relationship. So we see that even with God. So it's like, how much more?
Absolutely.
Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So we have to have that in mind always. Like, relationships is an area that God cares about and that we have to steward.
We have to steward. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I agree with that. And I actually do think that because I've experienced stunted growth when I haven't stewarded my relationships well, because I know that the people around you can either increase you or keep you down. So obviously, so it's important.
It's important, yeah.
And even speaking on friendships now, and it's interesting because I remember hearing, I can't remember where I heard it from, I don't want to quote it incorrectly, but I've heard that how you are like in your friendships, it can lead to how you will be in your romantic relationships. What do you think about that? I know they're both very different, but yeah.
I think obviously it is a whole different dynamic, but I think relationships in general I think it's the same through and throughout. Like, I feel like it is the same. Like, you have to be selfless, you have to kind of put yourself forward and all this type of stuff, and you have to, like, obviously love is an action, isn't it? Like, love is not a feeling, it's a choice. The Bible shows us that love is patient, love is kind, and suffering, all that type of stuff.
Keeps no records of wrongs.
Exactly.
Sometimes we like to do like, oh, they did this to me last year.
Yeah, they did. I'm gonna keep it.
I've been there.
Okay, this person's done that. I need to add that. Yeah. I need to add that. Like, we can't. Yeah, love doesn't do that. So I think it's the same. I feel like it's the same through and throughout, to be fair. Obviously they're your life partner, so it requires a lot more work. But I think if you steward your friendships, I think it will help.
Yeah.
To you when that time comes for you romantically. So yeah, I think it will help.
And I suppose as well, you and your romantic partner, you kind of have a foundation of friendship, don't you, as well?
Exactly.
So obviously from that basis,
so it would have started there anyway, and then that is even in the body of Christ, like stuff like that, people do say like friendship.
Yes.
Practically, it's like it's the best thing.
Stages,
it's the best thing. So yeah,
absolutely.
Starts there always, I guess.
So to me, that leads on to my other question, like, why do you think it's so important for us women and even men who are listening out there for us to be with the right person, right man or right woman?
Child. That can determine your destiny and determine your eternity as well.
Wow. Okay, wait, we need to pause there.
Apostle Emmanuel Adeseko said that.
Shout out.
Shout out, Apostle. It could determine your eternity, man. Like, if you are connected with the wrong person, like, where do you think you're going?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I don't even mean that in a funny way, but where do you think you're actually going? Wow. I think that person will obviously add to your purpose. That person will never subtract from you. They'll always add. You'll always add to that person. And I think being with the right person is beautiful to help you cultivate the things that are inside of you and to help bring them to the forefront. And so I think it's a life partner, and it's like you walk with them, you grow with them, they pull the things that need to be pulled out of you, and just like they help you evolve and expand and enlarge. So I would say it's important to wait for the right one and to choose the right one for those reasons. And if you're connected with someone, obviously it does determine your eternity, because like, where else are you going if it's
where are you going
if the situation's not rich?
What's the plan?
What is the plan? What's the destiny? Where are you going? So I think you have to consider those things, I guess.
And I feel like it can also affect your mental health as well, because I've known stories of where someone has been with a certain person, and then since then the person has never been the same.
And I don't even mean I'm not even laughing, but it's true. It's true.
Yeah.
Like, it can impact your mental health, and I think this is what I'm saying. Like, it covers all areas of your life. Like, it covers the spiritual, the mental, the emotional, all this type of stuff. Like, if you're with the right person, they're gonna help nurture all these different areas in your life, all these different parts of you. So one thing that I heard Jackie Hill, I love pulling out quotes from people. I'm pulling out quotes from everybody.
I was listening to her a lot lately.
I listen to her. She's so wise. She's a wise woman of God. And and she says, I don't want to, what did she say? What was the wording that she used? She doesn't want to help, like, she doesn't want to construct a heart that she hasn't been called to.
Wow.
I took
That's
that. I was
deep.
like, child.
That is deep.
Because when you, as you were saying, it can affect the mental health.
Yeah.
When you are now constructing a heart that you haven't been called to, that is going to have a huge impact on you.
Absolutely.
Of course, it's going to have an impact on your spiritual life, your mental health, your emotional well-being, all this type of stuff. So I think having that in mind, if you're called to them, obviously there's going to be work. There's going to be work. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be an easy journey.
Yeah.
But if you're called to that heart, you'll be able to. It will be there will be a sense of ease to it. And yeah, so that's what I'd say.
That's beautiful. And Tamira, speaking on the topic of mental health, you're very transparent with your mental health journey, which is, you know, it's beautiful and it's inspiring for those who are struggling with certain mental health problems. What can you tell us, like, more about your mental health struggles and how you overcame, like not overcame, but how you got through them?
Right. So, like, I feel like from when I was young, my mental health wasn't the best. I think that's due to childhood trauma and different things that I experienced as a child. But I think what led me to that was obviously sometimes when you're growing up in an environment where mental health is not spoken about, or it's kind of like a taboo topic, especially in Caribbean culture and stuff like that, and Caribbean households. No one really says the words "I'm depressed," or no one really says the words "I'm suffering with anxiety."
Or even
and if
I'm suicidal.
Or I'm suicidal. If you look at you like you're crazy, or you just be shunned, or whatever it is. So I think growing up in a household like that, how do you say that? How do you even find the words if you don't even have knowledge of what you're feeling, because it's not spoken about? So how do you say, you know, I'm feeling anxious, or I am feeling depressed, or I'm feeling overwhelmed with what's happening right now, my experiences? So I went through life kind of experiencing that and not really being able to be open about what I was experiencing, or be able to find language for the way that I was feeling, or language for my emotions. And because of that, I feel like maybe that's what made it worse. So I feel like it was quite tough, to be fair, because I had moments where I was like, okay, is this gonna be a fight that I fight forever? Like I remember having conversations with God, like, and just, you know, obviously crying and stuff, and saying, you know, is this gonna be a fight forever? Am I gonna keep fighting with my mental health forever? Am I ever gonna find peace? Am I ever gonna have peace? Peace of mind. And that's one thing that I really wanted from when I was young, is having a peace of mind.
Wow.
Like, I don't think I ever experienced that until obviously recently. And I think 2020 that was my worst point. Obviously I experienced my first loss, and I think my mental health just took a turn for the worse. I couldn't get out of bed, I'm being real. Like, I stayed in bed 5 days. Did I shower? No. I'm just gonna be honest, because I'm being real. Like, I feel like it's important to be real.
It's important
about these things. No, I didn't shower and all these things there, because I genuinely, when people think that depression you speak about, it's like, oh no, they're just
sad, or they just sit still, or
With depression, I'm telling you, it will have you in bed for how long? Like, not showering, not eating, not nothing, and I experienced that, and obviously, I didn't. It's because I couldn't really process the loss, because it was my first one. But then it was like, as I was saying, growing up in a household where you're not free to share your emotions. You can't really who do you talk to? Exactly. Yeah. Who do you talk to? So that took a turn for the worse anyway. And fast forward, I think that I started to get involved with like counselling, which was new. It was very new. And stuff like that, or just being more open, speaking about it, and like just showing how I was feeling in front of people, especially in church services. A lot of healing took place there. Being open with people about what I was feeling and stuff like that. As time went on, it was a journey, because I wasn't used to being vocal about the way that I was feeling. I wasn't used to expressing myself, because obviously my environment, but then also how to explain it, like how I became because of my experience. So Tamira didn't talk about how she was feeling. Tamira didn't be open. Tamira wasn't vocal. Tamira got through things by herself. that was what I learned growing up. So I just used to just get through things by myself. From a kid, that was me. I don't really need you. I can get through it by myself. It's a toxic mentality, by the way, guys. But I understand why those behaviors come about. So
so you were in survival mode.
Survival mode,
coping mechanism.
Right. That's all I knew was survival mode. Thank you for saying that, because I remember I was in my bed, and I love have my moments where I'm lying in my bed and I speak to God and I meditate and whatever. And I remember him saying to me so clearly, I'm gonna bring you to a place where you know what it's like to live, where you no longer have to live in survival mode. Wow. That's exactly what he said to me.
That's beautiful.
And at first I was like, wow, okay, I don't know what entirely that means, but okay. Yeah. And after that point, I started to see it. It was like, okay, Tamira, you don't have to live in survival mode. You can actually live life. You can live peace. I started to understand that, have that understanding, and obtain the peace that is promised through Jesus Christ. And so like with counselling and community and being open and transparent, telling people how I feel and stuff like that, I would say I got better, and obviously with God.
Wow,
with God. So obviously I don't want to be out here just saying like oh, it was God. Yes, God did have a huge part to play in my mental health and why I don't struggle the way that I did before at all. He really did, but we have to be practical as well.
Absolutely.
Christian, come on, like counselling is there. Like we have to go counselling. We have to do those things. And I think I invested in those things there, and I was seeing results. I was thinking, oh, okay, that's why I think like that. And it was like kind of like untying certain mindsets and perceptions and toxic mentalities that I had. It was like kind of just untying everything. So yeah, that's what I did. So I do recommend counselling. I do recommend therapy and there's different forms of therapy, by the way. Find yours. Mine was obviously through different things. Like mine was through, like, I know this sounds weird, like dancing. Like if I am feeling sad,
I love that.
I just dance. Like I just make up a routine and it made me feel better. Or it was therapy, or it was makeup, doing people's makeup. Like it was different things. There's different forms of therapy. So I would say find your own. But it was a journey, and it still is a journey being able to maintain that healthy space that I'm in now. It's still a journey to maintain it. So I have to do my best to maintain it, because obviously we should always be looking after our mental health. It's not like, oh, God's got me to this place now, I don't struggle.
Yeah.
No, we have to maintain it, and that is by still going to therapy, still speaking about things, still learning how to just share how you're feeling. So that's what I would say. But was it a rough time in my life? Was it a rough many years? 110%. But I feel like I remember, I think I shared this with you, that someone messaged me because I shared a little bit about my testimony about battling with anxiety and depression. And someone messaged me and said, seeing you and seeing this makes me realise that one day I'll be better.
Wow, there's hope.
There is hope.
There's hope.
And I have that in mind now. It's like, okay, Tamira, share where you're coming from. There's people, because imagine all them people that are sitting at home, they think there's no light at the end of the tunnel. They think they'll never stop fighting. They'll think they're just gonna be just in this mental space. And when you're battling with mental health so severely, you feel like you can't. The feeling of being trapped in your own head.
Literally, it's like a torment.
It's a torment.
It's like you feel like in a prison.
Yeah.
So you can do. I'm not saying for everyone, but yeah.
The feeling of being trapped you don't feel like you're ever going to be able to come out of your own mind. You want to, but you can't, because you're in your own body.
You're in your own body. Yeah.
So it's like me having that understanding and that experience, and now being able to relate and connect with people who are in that space now, it just pushes me to share more and just be that light to them. Absolutely. And show them that there is hope. Like you can get better. Like you can. If I can get better, then you can. The way I was struggling, like I haven't even shared the depths of it, but you can get better. Absolutely. Do you know what I mean? So
and you're living testament to that.
Yeah.
And it's interesting what you say about therapy and the taboo behind it, because the Bible does say in the multitude of counselors there's safety. So that shows you that actually community. So it's plural counselors. So sometimes when people are like, oh, you don't need therapy, just go to, some people say, like I've heard people say, just go to the priest, just go to the pastor. Like there's more than just.
There's more
it's
than
it's
that.
a community.
It's a community.
It's a body of
Take
people.
yourself to therapy, guys.
Yeah.
Like, Christians, like whether you're not Christian, whatever, take yourself to therapy. Just go to therapy. It will help. Like,
Literally.
honestly, like, yes, prayer, it does.
Yes.
Prayer, it does work. Like,
Mm.
you know, that really, really does work. I will never, ever, like, steer anyone away from that. Prayer does work. But counselling helps, man.
Absolutely.
Be practical. We have to be practical.
I agree.
We have to be practical. So
we live in the world. Our bodies are
Human
here.
body,
We're humans.
yeah.
We need each other. We need, and as you said, looking after our mental health.
yeah.
And Tamira, what would you say to someone out there right now who's currently tormented by their own thoughts, their own environment? The pain is just too much. Like they're crying every day, every night, not showering, not eating. Sorry. What would you say to that person?
I would say, like, so the fact that you're still here means that, you know, you have a purpose. God has a plan for your life. That's what I want to say to that person or those individuals now, that you're still breathing. God has a plan and God has a purpose for your life. There's a reason why you're here. You're not just here floating around or walking aimlessly. God has a plan and a purpose for your life. Secondly, I'd like to say that there is light at the end of the tunnel.
Yes. I know that's quite a common thing to say.
It's a common thing to say, but I'm telling you, just look at my life. Like, I'm coming from, like, severe levels of anxiety. Like, I've experienced panic attacks, severe levels of depression. As I said, I didn't shower for 5 days or was able to get out of bed or even pick myself up and all this type of stuff. Coming from, I don't know if this is something that I also experienced as well. It's called derealization or depersonalization. It's where you observe yourself from outside your body.
Okay,
it's very
wow.
that's torment. Yeah, so that was what I would always have, like I was like say episodes of that. That was very severe, and that was the hard part. It's like, oh, am I ever gonna feel like normal? Like it's like you're not in touch with reality. So I'm coming from that. Now, if I can make it through that, right? Yes, I had God and I did do therapy, but I think it's important for me to share that, all the things of where I'm coming from, because I know that there's certain people out there that can really connect with that and are in a space where they do feel like, okay, am I ever going to get better? Is there hope for people with mental illnesses? That's the question, though, because it's like some people have taken on mental illness, which I understand. You've been diagnosed. And they think, okay, they've said that this is a part of them. I would say it's a part of your journey, and I know that I don't want to sound like the typical Christian, but it is a part of your journey, only because you know, the Bible says that God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power, of love, and a sound mind. A sound mind. Other versions say self-control and all this type of stuff and all this stuff. So we actually are supposed to have a sound mind. We're actually supposed to have a mind that is functioning properly.
Absolutely.
Do you know what I mean? And it's important for people to know that. Yes, go to therapy, but you don't have to accept this as your be all and end all. It's not your be all and end all. I did at one point, but you have to get to a place where it's like, okay, I believe that I can get better. Absolutely. Do you know what I mean? And God, you know, going to God, I will say, go to God, pray to God. If you don't believe in him, ask him to reveal himself to you, and he will. Amen. And he will show up for you. And so that's what I'd say. There is light at the end of the tunnel. This doesn't have to be your be all and end all. Life doesn't have to end this way. There is hope. Jesus says that he came to give life and give it more abundantly. And that is a life in which through Jesus Christ, we can receive. Absolutely. So you don't have to live this dark, depressed, anxious, this dark life. Jesus came that you may have life and have it more abundantly. So you can live in freedom. Absolutely. Freedom is yours. But just know that freedom is also a choice. Yes. So make that decision to make yourself better by either reaching out to a therapist, you know, praying to, like, ask God to reveal himself to you, praying to God, reach out to someone. And as I said, like, let my life be a testimony to you that it is possible. So and
I just want to say as well, hopefully you don't want me sharing this, guys. She's got a big degree, and you've gone through it. Even obviously, did you when you were studying for your degree? Sorry, were you still going through mental health?
So with my degree, that's what I got pushed back a year, so I had to retake my second year because I didn't pass the modules, only because I was so depressed. I wasn't able to commit to doing the assignments, so I wasn't able to submit them. So even as I'm saying, like, even that had an impact on my education and my studies. So I've been there, like, I've been through it all, like, just seeing my life, like, in my eyes, I perceived it as my life slowing down. Did God have a plan for that? Yes. Did I see the plan? Did I understand it at first? No. But during that time where I was able to retake the second year and have, like, my few days that I went in, God did something in me where he actually was restoring and healing me. So everything has a plan. I didn't see it, but I was thinking, why are you slowing me down? Everything. Why are you making me delayed? Why this? Why did this happen? You know I was going through the loss. You know I was depressed for this reason. Why did you make me retake the second year? Why did you make me, like, do you know what I mean? Like, and I seen the plan in it. Like, God did a work in me during that time where I was going to uni less and I had more time for myself. God did something in that time. And then it kind of, like, helped prepare me and was mentally stronger and spiritually stronger and emotionally stronger for my last year. So I persevered and I pushed through with the strength of God, with community, and with just making the choice to make myself better by reaching out to professionals. And
what you said about a few minutes ago, you said freedom is a choice. You went to get the key and you opened the door.
Exactly.
You know, you sought out professionals. So it's true. It is a choice, and everyone is capable of everyone is empowered to make that choice. Everyone deserves freedom.
Everyone deserves.
The question is, what are you willing to do?
What are you willing
to get it?
So make steps, like, just make steps towards your own freedom. Just make the steps necessary. Reach out, whether it's to a friend, whether it's someone. Just help. If you don't have the connections, you don't know which way to go, just reach out. Sometimes it just takes that one step of, can you help me?
Absolutely.
Can you help me? And you'll find that what will come from that, all the help that's flooding.
Absolutely.
But if you don't reach out, we all need community. Everybody, not just Christians. Everyone needs community. And it's important to just utilize the people that you have around you to better yourself and better your life. So yeah, that's what I'd say.
That's beautiful. Thank you so much, Tamira. And is there anything left on your heart that you'd like to share?
What would I like to share?
Even though you've already given us so much of your heart.
I'd say just Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life.
Amen.
Get connected, man. It's not a religion. It's a beautiful relationship. It's a journey. Yes. It's actually a journey. Like, the more you learn about Christ, is the more you learn about yourself. You understand yourself more. You get to know who you are. You get to know why there's certain gifts are in you, why you're in certain fields, why you're doing all these things. You understand that more, that when you get to know Christ. So I would say, get connected to the source. And just go on that journey with him. And it's a beautiful journey.
Absolutely.
Self-discovery and discovering him. It's beautiful. Wow. So that's what I'd say.
Amazing. Thank you, Tamira. And look how you're shining now. So where can we find you on socials? What are your handles?
So my Instagram is @_Tamira Lachey. My YouTube is Tamira Lachey. TikTok, Tamira Lachey. What else am I on? Nobody even uses Facebook anymore.
I know, but if they want to find you,
Tamira Lachey. So yeah, guys, that's where you'll find me. You'll see a bit of stuff that I've done and what I'm doing currently, and
amazing. And yes, guys, if you want to keep being inspired by Tamira, because you post, like, your modeling on there.
There'll be different content coming though,
and different content,
more content of me speaking and just sharing my heart and stuff like that. So that's what's coming soon. So keep a lookout, stay tuned for that.
Amazing. Yes, girl. Thank you so much, Tamira. Thank you, everyone, for listening. You can find us at _ponder on that with Saffron on Instagram.
Make sure you go follow.
follow. Yes, follow us for more content like this, and also different types of content as well. So thank you guys for listening, and look after your mental health, and you do deserve freedom, and freedom is possible. You know, you deserve a healed life.
Amen.
Yeah.
Amen.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.
Thank you,
Take care.
Tamira.